Okay, as a DJ, and DJ's asking us for advice.
Hold on, let me turn on the on-air side.
On air.
All right, cool.
As a DJ, when other DJs are asking us for advice, what platforms do you think are necessary, whether you're shooting live or just doing something from a undisclosed location? We already know that Instagram is a good one when you want to go live. Some people go Facebook. So have you heard of Twitch?
Yeah. I have a Twitch account. I tried it. I don't know. Like, it depends on what you're trying to do.
Right.
Right? Like, I don't know. It just depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to... It's funny, and it isn't that much different than, like, me when I'm on the radio.
Right.
Right? So, like, well, let me back up. What is it that you're trying to accomplish and what works best? Well, if you're trying to go live, why are you going live? Right? What is the purpose of you going live? So if you're local and you're trying to get local gigs, man, you save yourself a lot of time by just going out to these places and giving them your information.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because when I was heavy in the DJ game, I got all my gigs by hanging out or DJing somewhere. There were a lot of times I'm DJing at a spot, somebody will walk up and they'll say, "Hey, do you do this? Can you do this? Do you want to do this or whatever?" And then there were times where I would just, it was very rare. Oh, sorry. It was very rare, but there were times where I'd like have a weekend off and then somebody would invite me out. I go out and they're like, "Hey, what are you doing here? Are you not DJing?" Or I'm opening up a spot in about a month, stuff like that. So if you're trying to get local gigs, cool. If you're trying to do more than just local stuff, what are you trying to do? Are you a producer? If you're a producer and you want to get your music heard, then you got to figure out a way to get your music on Spotify.
Right.
But the music market is so saturated right now.
Right.
Like even major recording, or you and I would consider major recording artists, it's just saturated. So like every day something new, like thousands and thousands of songs are coming out.
Even more so, like Mixcloud is saturated.
Yeah, Mixcloud is saturated. There's so many DJs. But I'll tell you what's funny to me, right? Exposure may not help you, right? So I went to the Kevin Gates concert,
right?
And so it was fun, and but I went there. They're playing music, but they had a DJ, and he was playing good music, right? He was playing good music, but he didn't mix. He didn't even play the songs on beat, and he would cut off in the middle of a verse. Now, for me, for somebody who blends. That was like chalkboard. That was like somebody's fingernails on a chalk. Because they were playing a song. I was like, okay, all right, I'm into it, This is in between the acts, right? So this is between Dej Loaf and Kevin Gates, right? And that's your local. But I don't know the guy's name. If he's from around here, he's new. But I think he was either with Dej Loaf or Kevin Gates or something. Right. So he's playing good music. Right. The crowd's vibing off the music. But it was like, okay, that's enough. And he just, right in the middle of a verse, played another song. He didn't drop it on the one. He didn't do any of that stuff. And it was like tennis balls in a dryer. It was just like, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, to me, the transition was not that smooth. Right. So and I just remember thinking like, that's not a good look or sound for this guy.
Right.
The next song he played was pretty good, and I was like, well, so sometimes people think, well, I saw, like if you're into house music, you're like, I saw little Louis Vega, and he was on, I saw some videos of him on YouTube, right? And he's mixing songs and stuff, and you see the crowd chant, or Boiler Room is a good one. Boiler Room, they have all these different DJs doing stuff, and you see them. Some people think, all I got to do is get on YouTube. All I got to do is get on Instagram. All I got to do is get on TikTok, right? And it's like what we were talking about with Grind. I said, well, if I make this record and Bad Boy Bill plays it, that's it. It's done.
Right.
Well, the record has to be something he likes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if you're trying to get on a platform and your goal is maybe to expand or get more gigs or something like that, and you're just being regular, there are 12-year-old girls that can scratch better than me on the internet right now. You know what I'm saying?
Seeing some of these girls.
Now their dads are
twins.
DJs. You always see their dad in the background, you know. Yeah, but they, you know, from a very young age, they were cultivated, and they practice and they practice and they practice. If you're trying to do something outside of this local region, you got to compete with those kids.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if your goal to stream live is just to be seen by your friends, invite them to your house. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then sometimes with me, I'll tell you who I saw, and it's funny. So I have my turntables, but I like to leave those set up in my basement. Okay. And then I DJ on the weekends sometimes. And I had a controller, but the controller was Tractor, and or my turntables, I had a Tractor mixer, and my controller was the Rain one, which is Serato. Right. And, you know, to keep track of the songs and the libraries, I was like, oh. So now I have to make a decision because I want to do both. Right. I want to have one laptop. I got a new laptop. I was like, I bought the Rain one because it was like the turntables, but I didn't think about Serato and Tractor and all that stuff. So I got to get a new controller because I wanted to get a new controller. Right. I knew that they were going to come out with the Rain Performer, right? I said, well, maybe I'll do the Rain Performer. Okay. Tractor has controllers, right? But they have that Pioneer Rev 7. Pablo just got that Rain 7. Or not the Rain, he got the Rev 7, which is by Pioneer.
I made a big mistake. I should have got that, but it was not then.
So, well, anyways, I hit up Pablo and I say, hey, I'm trying to, you know me, I got a scratch, right? So even if I'm taking this, my plan is to get like a controller, put it in a road case. If I have to do a mobile gig, right? I leave that there. Turntables stay set up in the basement. I never touch them, never move them.
Don't have to move them.
So I said, do you mind if I come swing through and scratch on your Rev 7, right? And Pablo was like, yeah, swing through. Because it has motorized platters, but I want to know if it feels like a record. You know what I mean? Right. I don't know. Yeah, I think it has motorized platters. No, it doesn't. I don't remember. I think the thing spins backwards. I can't remember. But he said, come by. Right. So when I get over there, he's got it set up. He's got a room similar to this. He said, let me show you where I do my streaming.
Oh, he streams?
Well, he doesn't do it all the time. And so he's got like, see that ring light behind you? He's got a ring light. And he goes, I put my phone right here and I do the stream. And I watched him stream. Right. You know, and he's a phenomenal mixer. Right. When he does go on TikTok, people watch it, right? Right. But I got the impression that he wasn't all that concerned with streaming on TikTok. Right. You know, he didn't say anything to me, but he's like, yeah, sometimes I want to stream on TikTok. So what does he really do? Well, what Pablo really does is he posts on social media, I'm looking for gigs. Right. These are the nights I have available. If you need a DJ, get at me. Wow. Right. He's been DJing consistently, locally, for decades. He's always got a night somewhere. Right. I just saw a video that he posted on Instagram, and I think he was invited one night at Cool Runnings, downtown South Bend. Place is jumping. They must have done a student night. I haven't talked to him yet. Right. Place is jumping. You know, he's just DJing, being himself, doing his thing. Now, did he get that gig because he was on TikTok? No. You know what I'm saying? What's that guy's name? Is it Jay Daddy, or I forget the guy's name, the owner there? I forget his name. But he dabbles in DJing a little bit. Does he? Right? Okay. So these were college kids that wanted to go out and have a good time. Once they walked through that door, they had a veteran DJing. Right. You know, Pablo really doesn't make mistakes. So when he's blending, It's nonstop, good stuff. Now, if he were to do TikTok all the time, he'd probably get some followers.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Tell people, hey, I got TikTok.
But
pics.
he is, and I can't speak for him.
Right.
But for some reason, I feel like for him and his life and what his goals are, he's doing just fine.
Right.
You know what I mean?
TikTok.
Yeah, he doesn't need all that stuff. But sometimes what happens with me is people see or hear me on the radio.
Right.
Or they see me on YouTube. And they go, oh, that's Kid Mix.
That's Kid Mix.
Right? And I'm nobody. I'm just a kid from Benton Harbor that plays records.
Oh, come on.
I'm just a kid that plays records from Benton Harbor. But they'll see that, and then they think,
right,
if I want to be able to do what Kid Mix does or whatever, I have to be on the radio. I have to be on some sort of platform, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not me because of the platform.
Right. Because you were you before platform started.
Yeah.
I'm
me because I locked myself in a bedroom for 5-6 hours a day like a mad scientist, more like a crazy person, almost like somebody on the spectrum. I might be a little spectrum-y. So, and that's where do you spend your time?
Home.
You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is, like, what's your goal? Are you trying to be a superstar DJ? And Brian, I don't know if we talked about this on the podcast, but a little bit. But him and I, shout out to Brian, by the way. But his son is producing songs.
Right.
And so his son is really trying to take it to the next level.
Yeah, that's usually the next level for some people. I wanted to produce, but at one time I wanted to be that superstar DJ, but I think my goals switched after that party.
Yeah.
I was already in the medical field. I had my education. I'm like, do my thing. And even now, when I go out and DJ, I was like, I want to know what's fresh, what's hot, what's new. I'm cruising the Billboard charts. I'm listening to the because one thing what happens if you just listen to satellite radio, you can lose your way of what's happening in your city, because what's going on Sirius Radio may not be very well what's going on in your city for its music and talent or anything else. So I have to, myself as a wedding DJ, I'm cruising U93, Billboard charts, making sure what's hot and fresh. My daughter, hey, what's going on in school? What's happening? What's the new dance? As an OG, thank God we got kids because they can keep us up to date. I was at a wedding where a guy was like in his 50s and he had not a clue. Old music, stuff like that, but it's, I don't know, man, it's just crazy. Yeah. Question to you. We're doing a wedding. Do you change your songs of what you usually play for a wedding? Did you mix it up? Or do you keep the same kind of, do you tend to drift in the same playlist you used last week in another wedding? Because you had success with the songs.
Well, let me finish answering the first question. You pick whatever platform based on what your goal is. If you want to stream live, it takes a lot of time.
Right.
What do you gain from it? That's what you got to think about. What do you gain from it? That's not a question for you. We'll just leave it for people to say something in the comments or something. But
what my question is with that, and I thank you for keeping me online.
I still got an answer for the second question.
Second question, finish.
No, but what were you going to say?
I'm a wonder. So finish your second.
All right. So the second question is, Grind also on our last episode was talking about sometimes people, you'll hear them play the same songs over and over and over.
Right.
Right. So, it's funny. People still dance to Cha-Cha Slide.
Right.
That song is 30 years old, my guy.
Old as hell, bro.
But if you play it,
right.
I mean, little old ladies, they just scream and run out to the dance floor. They're having the time of their life.
They are.
Yeah. Their favorite part is when they go. You could see it in their eyes. They're like, here it comes. And they get their friends and they, like,
how low can you go?
Yeah, how low? Someone get real low and then they get stuck and can't get back up.
They're reaching up.
But they're so excited. And, you gotta play it.
Right.
So there's certain songs that you have to play. Being in nightclub and radio, you try to break new songs.
Right.
Sometimes you can have an ear for what people might like, and sometimes there was a song by Prince. I'll remember this. It was P-Word Control.
Oh.
Okay. It's an album cut. It was never a single, never had any radio play.
No, it didn't.
Somebody wrote it on the, I told you I keep a playlist. This is when I was DJing in clubs. I kept a playlist. I saw the song on there, Prince.
Right.
I never heard that song about Prince. And then I'd laugh when I read the title. I didn't think anything of it. I was like, all right, whatever.
Who asked for that?
Somebody else came up to me and they're like, oh, you got to play this. And I was like, I don't know. And I don't know. This seems like a lot. And but then I was like, but it's Prince. Well, this went on for like 3 weeks. Every night. 6-7 times people were writing the request on this list, right? I don't even have it.
Right.
So I was like, let me go get it. So I get it. I listen to it. He's screaming, Control. And I was like, why do they like this song? It's Prince. And I was like, but he's got cuts that are, I could see if they wanted to hear like Erotic City or, one of his classics, right? And I was like, wow, this is weird. And it was a newer song at that time when it was first popular. And I was like, well, they keep asking for it. I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it, right? So there's a couple times where I try songs in the time of the night. And that song on the album, there's like a bunch of background noise. The music doesn't really start until like 19 seconds in or something like that. I don't remember the exact number. So I cue it up. I'm waiting. As soon as that song drops, they just go crazy. I said, oh, okay, we're playing this for a while. You know what I mean? And it's the same for a wedding. There's some songs that I play.
Right.
That I'll probably play at every wedding.
Really?
Yeah. And I didn't start off, I was a nightclub, mixed show, hip-hop, turntablist, but I DJ'd at Pebblewood.
Right.
Now, they had a teen dance on Saturday or Sundays, but that venue, they hosted wedding receptions on Saturdays. They had a separate DJ for the wedding reception.
Wow.
So every once in a while, he would call in and say, I got to go out of town or something. They'd say, can you do it?
Right.
I was like, I had no clue what to play.
Right.
None. And so I went in there trying to DJ like it was the club. Right. And then, but I had gone to family weddings and stuff. So I thought if I played this song, if I played that song. So I played some of them. And then eventually, I would probably do like maybe 4 or 5 weddings in the summertime because he would need to take a week off or whatever, and so I would just do that, and then same thing, they'd request songs. I was like, I have never even heard of this song.
Right.
But at Pebble, we had a library of those songs that we kept there because they had originally they had a budget. Now, when I came there, they didn't have any budget for music, but I guess at some point in time, those older songs they purchased and left there at Pebblewood.
Wow.
So they had we had vinyl. We had CDs and stuff, and they were. I don't know if Icon did it or if the guy before him was Brian Bovito. It was in alphabetical order.
Really good.
So if somebody told you the title, you could go. There were some drawers behind you. There were small drawers. Yep, you just pull it out. They had stuff on cassette even.
Oh, wow.
So you'd have to and so you just play the song. So no, you just got to go off the vibe, but it's kind of hard to know what people like.
Right.
But I think that's one thing that I really appreciate. And young kids nowadays, dude, I'm amazed at what they request. I DJ'd like 4 proms last year.
Right.
All young people. They respond to like Cupid Shuffle. Like these are the songs that they go crazy over.
Right.
Cupid Shuffle.
Right.
Cha-Cha Slide. Wobble. Right. All those songs are at least 20 years old. I did play Soak City.
You did?
Yeah. I did play T Grizzly. I got radio versions of all these, right?
Okay.
I did play Mo Bamba.
Oh gosh.
I got where they bleep out the words. I did have Cardi B. I did have what's that one song? Remember Kia, My Neck, My Back?
My Neck, My Back.
I have a radio version of that.
Oh man,
These young kids know those songs.
They do.
Yeah.
It's got to be parents.
Well, they hear it with their parents,
Yeah,
and then
parents.
well, streaming's different too. How did you listen to music when you were growing up?
Dude, I'm just gonna say, listening to music now, it's a different experience from when me and you grew up, because back then when we grew up, our parents had the big giant console and with the TV and the record player and top with the 45 disc, and if you lost the 45 disc, you couldn't play the 45 because, like, who lost the 45 disc? We can't play 45.
Yeah, the adapter. Yeah.
Yes, and it's like me. I heard it was 8-track tapes with my dad, and I remember the first song I heard was The Temptations.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I remember tapes coming in. The fact, and then after that, years after that, it was discs.
Mm-hmm.
But with kids of the day, they know nothing about touching music. And I don't know about you, but for me, touching music was therapy for me because I had a tough upbringing. And so they don't know what it is to touch the grooves of a record and lay it on the turntable and take the needle and hearing that crackle. The nostalgic sound of the crackle of the needle going through the grooves of the record, or smelling the plastic when you open up a fresh 12-inch record, or it's feel like I'm taking myself back there.
I don't want to cut you off, but you're smelling records, dude. What's going on?
Like,
you all right?
It's like
you smelled them?
It's like, you see this nose? I got a big nose, and I can smell anything a mile away.
It seems a little. I'm not judging, but music.
Oh, music. It's like in gramophone, sir. Yes, you're supposed to be listening, not smelling. Oh, sorry.
Watch that guy with the Notre Dame hat. He's over there smelling the records again.
And my daughter, she's 10 years old. And in my basement, there is a history museum of music. I still have tapes. I still have records. I still have discs. I still have the mini disc players with slide in that played this. I don't know what song is on. I have to go through them and look at them. I had a Walkman mini disc player.
Yeah, I have one too.
And tapes. So sometime I come home, I go downstairs. Where's she at? She's downstairs in your records. I told her not to go down there. And this kid, she got the headphones on. I said, what are you listening to? Something I'm not supposed to be. Where you? Look over. She's listening to the NWA.
Hey, you did your job, man. You did a good job. If she's listening to NWA,
people cringe when you say you let your kids hear
dude.
Explicit lyrics. Let me tell you, kids learn more explicit things at school than music first.
Well, I don't think the lyrics. I mean, listen, you got to be careful because the lyrics are suggestive.
Yes.
But also, I don't know, like that Straight Outta Compton album.
Straight Outta Compton.
I went and bought Boys in the Hood.
Right.
At East Main Records.
Okay. Oh.
So we go in there.
Taking me back.
We go in there. It was me and Poppy. Do you know Poppy?
No.
Melvin?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Didn't he used to do T-shirts and stuff?
Yeah, but before that, when we were in high school. Right? So he DJ'd for a little bit. Well, I don't know how that worked out, but him and I used to DJ at the rec center.
Did you?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. But we would take the money that we made at the rec center and we go to the record store and we buy records. I went in there, and then at some point, I just started DJing real heavy, and I would go all the time. And I had some other friends that DJ'd, so I was in that store a lot. And I can't remember when Mr. Tony used to get his music. It was like Mondays or Tuesdays. He'd have boxes. I can't remember.
I can't remember either.
But I this is where I was at even then.
Right.
I was there.
Right.
After school, I showed up. Hey, what do you got? He goes, oh, I got this thing from the West Coast. It sounds real different.
Right.
It was Boys in the Hood. It's
Really?
not the remix. A lot of it was the original. There's a slight difference between the original and what they have on streaming platforms.
Right.
It didn't have that little intro.
No.
So but when I heard it, and it was Dr. Dre, and Dr. Dre, from World Class Wrecking Crew days, they had the Cabbage Patch. I remember Surgery.
Yeah. Yeah.
I bought that there. I bought that there. And then he did the Cabbage Patch because Dr. Dre was a really good DJ. He could scratch.
Yeah.
And I was like, he goes, "This is by Dr. Dre." I was like, "Oh, let me hear it." And it was like, and I was like, "Oh, it was 808s." And and a lot of hip hop was New York sounding.
Right.
Very sample heavy, a lot of James Brown stuff. But Dr. Dre stuff was just so different.
Yep.
And I remember that. And then Eazy-E's voice was just so different. And so I loved that stuff. I remember buying all those records there. But I think what I meant was kids stream music.
Right.
I listened to the radio.
Right.
A lot. If I wanted to know what was new. And we also grew up when MTV actually had music on there, and BET actually had videos. MTV had music for a while, but they didn't have urban music.
No, they didn't.
They didn't. It was all white rock and roll type music. Mm-hmm. And then when BET came out, I was like, oh, cool, this is music that we like. I know I'm white, but that's what I watched a lot of. Dude. And then, but when they had Yo MTV Raps, because I'm a hip hop head, right? When that came out. Yeah. Well, before that, it was Fab Five Freddy.
Fab Five Freddy. Right. You're right. You're absolutely right.
And I remember being mad because they talked about the whole week. This week, it was like on a Friday night or a Saturday night debut. And Yo MTV Raps, only rap music on MTV. I was like, oh, I can't wait. First song they play, Tone Loc Wild Thing. I was like, that's not hip hop. I was mad. No, I was mad.
I bet you was.
So that's not hip hop. And it turned out to be a pretty popular song, I suppose.
It did.
But kids nowadays, they stream, which means they can hear everything. When I was a kid, I heard stuff at the record store, or I heard it on the radio.
Or somebody's grandmother's house.
Yeah, the older music all the time.
Right.
The older music, you'd hear that with family members and stuff like that. And I think a lot of us DJs, our families, listen to music a lot. My mom and dad played a lot of music when I was growing up.
Okay.
And my dad was a musician. He loved like B.B. King and Teddy Pendergrass. And so he was just like, he just loved, because he played guitar and he thought they were phenomenal guitar players.
Urban grit.
He just loved B.B. King, and he would just listen to that all the time. And I would listen to it. I was like, oh, that's weird. But but he had like Herbie Hancock records and James Brown records. So I'd play like a song and it'd have the funky drummer. I didn't know it was a sample. I was like, oh, they programmed this beat. Like, I don't know where they came up with this. This is wild.
Right.
He come by and I was like, Dad, check this out. And he was like, I said, listen to the guy on this. He goes, that's a James Brown record. And he'd go and get the record, and he'd play it for me. And I was like, oh, Two Live Crew, they did, who was that young kid that was on Two Live, or on the Luke, before he got in trouble with George Lucas, they used to be Skywalker Records. But there was a young kid, an MC, that recorded a whole album. The whole album. James Brown has got like the Live at the Apollo album. And it looked like they just took every song off that Live at the Apollo album and sampled whatever they could. And then he had like, I can't remember that kid's name. He was a young kid, but he was a rapper. But every song he had was just a sample, and it was almost in order of it was like they were like, hey.
And he was with the Two Live Crew?
No, well, it was the same record label. He wasn't with the Two Live Crew.
It wasn't?
It was on Skywalker Records. I can't remember his name. He had Jock and Robin or something like that.
I was going to say DJ Quick, but
no, it wasn't DJ Quick. It'll come to me later. Maybe somebody will leave it in the comments.
Yeah, somebody leave it in the comments. You guys know what that is. Please leave it in the comments.
I'll look it up. I'll look it up because I just remember because I got the record. There was one song that he liked. I think he did. I can't remember what it was, but I just remember like I bought the album.
Right.
And I was like, oh, this is Luke Skywalker here. This has got to be dope.